Namaskar. Hello and welcome to P Guru's channel. I'm your host Shriyaya. Joining me today, as always, is Sumit Peer as we look at the things happening around the world. This is also an Ask Sumit session, episode 74. Feel free to ask your questions. You can ask via the app or in the chat box here. We appreciate you doing it from the app because the chances of making mistakes is lesser. Let's now welcome Sumit Peer. Sumit ji, namaskar and welcome to P Guru's channel. How are you?
Jai Siyaram, Radhe Radhe sir, all good and fine by the kripa of Lord Mahakal, your Ashirwad. Namaskaram and pranam to all of our brothers and sisters across the world.
Thank you so much, Sumit. So let's start with the Navarro slur on Brahmins. There is a history to Brahmins in the United States also. There used to be a very exclusive set of people called as Boston Brahmins. And this was something that was sort of imported from the British saga, and these were used to refer to exclusive set of people who used to only mingle among themselves. They were extremely rich, extremely talented, and so on and so forth. And if you wanted to insult somebody in a nice way, you'd say, oh, he thinks he's a Boston Brahmin. So there is a certain amount of misinformation about Brahmins. So let it slide for a minute. But as far as if you look back at history in India, right, there are not just Brahmins as a varna is somebody which says he's a learned person. It doesn't have to be somebody who's born into a Brahmin family. This distinction has to be understood by people. Unfortunately, many don't. If you take my personal case, Sumitji, both my mother's side and father's side, they've all come from the area what is now modern day Kanchipuram, which used to be the place from where the Pallava dynasty ruled. So 4th century to about 8th century before they yielded to the Cholas and so on. So this dynasty, if you look at their origins, they are supposed to have descended from Ashwatthama, the son of Dronacharya. And so what happened is they were actually Brahmins, but over the time they understood what is warfare, and they are hyphenated as Brahmin Kshatriyas or Kshatriya Brahmins, whichever way you think of it. So there is a certain amount of virata in them. There's also a certain amount of kala in them. For example, one of the most famous kings of the Pallava dynasty was called Mahendra Varman. And he was also had this moniker called Chittira Puli. What that means is he is a tiger as an artist. He was that good as an artist. So if you look at the lineage of the kings, they were all very devoted to arts. They promoted. In fact, I'll tell you something else. Today, the temples that you see in the southern part of India, which is all stone-based architecture, they were the first ones to do it. Before that, the temples were made from bricks. Pallavas were the first ones to pioneer stone-based temple architecture. You can see that in Shore Temple in Mahabalipuram, which is not very far from Chennai. In fact, it's almost a suburb now, and it's beautifully done. Why I'm saying all this is, look, you don't know anything about Brahminism or Sanatana Dharma. Some stupid idiot in your group, I'm telling you whether some stupid idiot gave you a chit and asked you to take pot shots or you did it on your own, either way, the result is just the same. It is stupidity. Shut your trap. If you have something you have an economist with a PhD in it. If you have something useful to add, say that from why the trade deal between India and US is important. And we have a small video just so it sets the context, and then I'll hand it over to you, Sumit. Let's take a look at the video.
Listen.
Look, Modi's a great leader. I don't understand why he's getting to bed with Putin and Xi Jinping when he's the biggest democracy in the world. So I would just simply say to the Indian people, please understand what's going on here. You got Brahmins profiteering at the expense of the Indian people. We need that to stop.
Yeah, and we'll be watching.
The anchor doesn't even understand what exactly he's saying. So he just says, yeah, and then keeps going on. Look, if you really want a considered discussion, Mr. Peter Navarro, call me. I'm available. I mean, I have a big channel. You will get your say. I will not interrupt you. You can say whatever you want, and I will give you the rebuttals. And have some humility to accept what is right and what is wrong. You have to get past this. You are a PhD in economics from Harvard, for God's sake. Anyway, let's move back to you. Over to you, Sumitji. This has really caused a ripple and a storm in India, hasn't it? And even here, the UPA, the Congress party is trying to make politics. Shitheads is all I can tell them. Go ahead.
Sir, I'll take the name of Lord Shri Ganesh and start the show. Well, what we are seeing today is an state wherein I would look at it as a Soros playbook played. I would look at it with a Soros connection. For me, the script is coming from Soros. For me, it is the manifestation of Soros' agenda, which Peter Navarro is kind of, vomiting. I can't say saying, I would say vomiting out. I would say this is the classical playbook. When you don't know how to handle Bharat, you try to divide the Hindu society, you try to demonize the Brahmin, and you try to run your politics around the Brahmins are profiteering from oil. The fact remains, Brahmins have nothing to do with oil business. I mean, if you look at oil business as such, it's not controlled by Brahmins. There's hardly any player who's a Brahmin in this. What this man is trying to do, you see, there is a nefarious agenda at work. Let me take you back. You see, his tweet last time showing Modi ji in a tribune and wearing saffron clothes. What is his problem with that? Again, today he's coming to Brahmins. The problem is that he's attacking Sanatan Dharma, which gives us the strength to bear invasions, which gives us the strength to survive tides, which gives us strength to be attached to our roots amidst as tough that situations might get. Usually, they thought with 44 billion tariff, India will kind of really buckle down. Look what is happening in France. We discussed that yesterday. Here we have 44 billion tariff and we are not even bothered. In France, a $44 billion deal can lead to a government fall or can push France to an economic bailout from IMF. So you can see the contrasts in the economy here. And this resilience of Bharat, this resilience of Prime Minister Modi is what he cannot possibly handle it. He cannot fathom. Now, when he does not have a way to get around, he is trying to kind of make it Brahman versus non-Brahman. Is exactly what I remember that ex-Twitter CEO, where he had these couple of cronies with him and they had this Brahminical hierarchy or something they was to use. I don't know even what that word is. I can't still fathom the thought what that word means. Now, Navarro and Soros and that gang, they all seem to be converging. So is it Navarro or is it Soros? Who exactly is the agenda? Is Soros trying to hurt Bharat? Is Soros trying to scuttle the Bharat's economy? Is Soros trying to destabilize the government of Prime Minister Modi? And is the right hand and the left hand people of Trump being used into it? Is Trump a part of it? Or is Trump simply not aware what is happening around him? Because they are all trying to fan his ego, saying, oh, Bharat is all evil, it's all devil, and it's all, what you could kind of really look at Bharat and you can cursify anything and everything. Look, if I look at what he has done is atrocious. His last time tweet was absurd, and what he has done, he has crossed all the limits. I really do not care, with due respect, if he's a PhD from Harvard or any Timbuktu. But I think whatever he was talking is racist, is the venom which is flowing in his blood, is that hate against Sanatan Dharma, is that hate against Bharat. And at the end of the day, you somehow want to position Bharat as a laundromat. You want to destabilize us. You want to say that the war and all the animosity in the world is there because of Bharat. Now, let me give you a couple of examples here, which are very important.
Sumit, one other thing that I need to mention, some of you may have seen Sridhar Chittilaja's interpretation of Peter Navarro. See, what has happened is, this man is actually brilliant, okay? He gave a very considered opinion on what happened in the 2020 elections. He said, he detailed exactly steps by which he thought the election was, okay, I'm not going to say he did not provide proof, but he thought that the elections were stolen. And then when the Congress summoned him to come and appear in front of him, in front of them, he refused. And for refusing, he was put in jail for close to 6 months. He came out only a few weeks before the election. I don't remember the exact date, so don't kill me for getting the dates wrong. But he spent a lot of time in jail for standing up to what he believed in. And if you read that document, right, it's one of the research things that I used to write my book, Who Painted My State Purple. So I have a lot of regard for this person. I don't know why he is going off the rails like this. But Sridharji did mention one thing, that Peter Navarro can be erratic. Okay, so I think we need to move beyond this. What it is, like you said, the takeaway here is India is being tried to be divided along its caste lines and creed lines and whatever community you name it. The reality is, doesn't matter whether you are today a Muslim or a Christian or anybody else. You are a Sanatani. You were a Sanatani. Yes, there were some compulsions. It could be money, it could be death, it could be life, whatever it is. Okay, so this is the time to come together. That's why I gave you the lineage history of where I'm coming from. Viewers, support Modi. All of you were tripled. What support? What's stopping you from doing this? Let people comment whatever they want. Anyway, I just wanted to add to that. Now, wrap this thing up, Sergi, because we have a lot of other interesting stories, especially the Modi-Putin one-on-one meeting for 45 plus minutes. There is a drive time. Plus, after they reached the place, they were talking for another 45 minutes inside the car. All that stuff we are going to capture for you in great detail. What exactly transpired there, all that stuff and more. But just finish this thing and then we'll go to that one. Hope you've all liked this video. Back to you.
I think, look, I can clearly see there's a deep state play here. I can clearly see that there are vested interests who are at work. I can clearly see that the frustration of people within the America has crossed the pinnacle. And when Prime Minister Modi was supposed to meet Vladimir Putin and Xi Jinping, when they really saw the game is moving out, when they saw a global reset is happening at the SCO, now they lost their sense of proposition and all, and then they could, look for here and there and find this word Brahman and start, slogging the word for no reason, for no logic at all. And this man doesn't even understand what he's talking. Again, this talks about you have lost a plot, Mr. Navarro, and you have got your plan, your masters, and whomever are those vested interests, you have got them exposed today. That is how we would conclude it. Now, after that, let's move to the next side. Look, the next point is going to be the Modi, Putin, and Xi. What happened in SCO today? There were a couple of things which happened. Prime Minister Modi was there, Xi Jinping was there, Putin was there. They were holding hands together. When they were holding hands together, they were a lot of interpreters came in. It was live on the TV. A lot of interpreters came in, and they were smiling, laughing, and giggling. There are three things which are very uncommon. Putin is known to hide his emotions, and Xi Jinping is very good at hiding his emotions. You cannot read anything from his face. Now, when that smiling, laughing, and giggling happened and holding the hands, I think it was a very clear and subtle message that the RIC has arrived. As you all know, friends, RIC is a concept of 1990. It was given by this Peskov, that is this Russian Peskov, and he on the base of that, BRICS and all got formed. Now, whatever he suggested in 1990 to counter the West seems to have come to light after 35 years. This is the moment. This is the moment. Usually, Putin, Xi, they don't get casual. They're the people who will want to control their emotions, and Putin is XKG. We have to know that. Now, with all those things happening, there were other people in the hall who were kind of ignored, and the one person who got completely snubbed is Shehbaz Sharif. Shehbaz Sharif was royally snubbed. Nobody looking at him. He was holding his hands like this. It's like somebody. Yes, sir. What can I bring for you next? So, would you like a juice? Would you like a cold drink? Ji huzur, sahab, kya laya aapke liye? So that is what Shehbaz Sharif looked in the room, and this was a message which was resonating in Washington. And I'll tell you something interesting. In a morning TV debate, the channel's crew ran across an American journalist. An American journalist was there, and his full team was there. The Indian reporter asked him, "What are you doing here?" He said, "We are here, quote unquote, we are here to cover Indian Prime Minister Modi. And when the Modi is done, we'll leave here." So there are American journalists and American crews which are in China, which are in Tanzania just to cover Modi. Now you can imagine what I'm talking here. So when I say to cover Modi, and now if I look at John Bolton's latest statement, which came maybe 2 or 3 hours back, he says Trump has dismantled everything what 30 years of work after 1990s, whatever work went in building this India-America relationship, trying to pull India away from the Soviet influence, trying to get India into American fold. A lot of sweat and blood and a lot of work has gone in. Trump, you have dismantled all that. You kind of decimated all that. And I want to remind President Trump, look, international relations is a national IPR. International relations is not your personal fiefdom. You cannot come and dismantle what is America's goodwill. You cannot come and dismantle what the people for last 30 years have tried to build. And now you're going accusing everybody and anybody. You recently put a post in the Truth saying that India is reduced to make the prices to zero. Well, I can say you, to the best of the knowledge I have, and I think since morning and last 2 days, I've been almost spending every hour on TV on YouTube, but I have not even heard, within my all contacts and sources, sir, I have not even heard a 0.1% inclination what Donald Trump is claiming. And if that is not all, friends, let me tell you, bring to the second aspect of it. You know, just before Putin and Modi's bilateral, Mr. Marco Rubio has said something which is completely anti to what Navarro says and what Trump has tweeted. Now we have Navarro on one side, we have this Trump on other side, and just before the bilateral started, Indian embassy in India, American embassy in India, tweeted what Mr. Marco Rubio had to say. Marco Rubio is the External Affairs Minister of America. He said the biggest relation of this century is between India and America. I mean, if you look at that tweet or that message from Mr. Marco Rubio just before the Modi Putin bilateral, what does that tell you? It tells you altogether a different picture. It's altogether a different connotation. And what happened next? I'll tell you something interesting. After that tweet, now what happens is Modi ji is suddenly something very interesting happened in China. Now Vladimir Putin gets into his car. It's that limousine, and he's waiting 10 minutes in his car for Modi ji to arrive. Nobody knows what the big plan is. The reporters are stunned. The security people are stunned. The crews are looking at why Putin is not leaving. He waited for 10 minutes. Then Modi ji comes. He gets into his car. I think that was a deviation from the security protocol. Was security informed or they were informed? We don't know. He gets into that car and they kind of start the journey and they reach the venue. And even after the venue, when they reach, they spend 10-15 minutes in the car after reaching the venue. So the total time,
I heard.
The total time is 55 minutes. 55 minutes is 55 minutes is the total time by the time they start. But the interesting part is here Putin waits for 10 minutes, and when the car reaches the venue, still for 10 to 15 minutes they continue the conversation in the car. Possibly they were discussing something, trying to conclude something, and what China sees it is no ear smitting. And you know what is trending on Weibo right now? Around 1 hour back before this show, I was on a channel. What is trending on Weibo, the Chinese social media app, is that picture of Prime Minister Modi which he tweeted along with Putin in the car. That is the hottest trending thing on Chinese social media as we talk, sir. Now,
we have a small video. We have a small video of a Russian reporter where he's showing Putin waiting for Modi. Just take a quick look at this video, also, viewers.
Sure.
Владимир Путин и премьер Индии Нарендра Моди вместе решили ехать в одном автомобиле. И это вот то, что произошло прямо на наших глазах. Это решение принято несколько минут назад. Никто об этом не знал.
There is a car that you mentioned, and we'll keep bringing up some other information. It's a lot of information to share. Sumiji, let's take a look at the takeaway here. You come to SCO and then you have an exclusive conversation with no translators, no interpreters, no nothing, which means they probably spoke in English. Putin is good at English, and so is Modi ji can speak good English. So I think they spoke in English. What else can they could have used? Sanskrit, I don't know. But here is what the Donald Trump tweet was. What few people understand is that we do very little business with India. Essentially, I see this as a bit of a climb down. He's sort of saying now that I just want to let everybody know that their tariffs have been high. That's true. I don't deny that. But that's not the entire story, though. You have been trying to do some other things. Let's speak, cool the tempers down, call back some of these comments that Navarro said. The least Navarro can do is to give an apology. It's in very bad taste. Some of the utterances that he did. And whether it will make things worse or better, only time will tell. I do know, Sumit, that the negotiators are quietly working out the details. If you want to have a serious trade agreement, you have to itemize it. And we talked about this yesterday also. You have to itemize it. If this particular product of steel, what will be the tariff? If that product is something else, what will be the tariff? It can change from, what product is being used. Because of what kind of impact it has on the consumers. If the consumer can't afford a bigger tariff, then will have to keep it lower. So there's a lot of small things that need to be happening. I'm sure that's being worked out. The date given is probably in October. This is going to blow over, and there will be a free trade deal. After all, the two biggest democracies need to go step in step. At the same time, China has opened the door to India, and Russia has always been there. I don't see much of a difference in India-Russia relationship. It takes testicular gravitas for someone to go into somebody else's guest house and say that war is not the answer. You understand who I'm talking about? That takes a lot of testicular gravitas. Look it up, what testicular gravitas means. So I'll yield the control back to you. Let's take a look at the Modi-Putin speech. What was it about? Where are things headed? And what does it mean for the world in general? Over to you.
Okay, there are a couple of points I want to share with you. The mutual trade between China and Russia is $245 billion. With us and Russians is around $145 billion. We were buying 34% of oil from them. It has climbed to 37% now. We have decided to carry on buying our energy from Russia. I think there are a lot of things which are being discussed. If you look at the bilateral is basically about, we are very happy to meet you. Putin is coming in December to Bharat. It is done. We will be cooperating on energy, culture. We are talking of weapons. We are talking of nuclear arms. We are talking of reducing the trade deficit between us and Russia. And there are a lot of other aspects which have been spoken on the bilateral. That means India and Russian partnership and friendship has get very close. If you look at the hug, if you look at the handshake, if you look at the kind of relation, Modi ji and Putin share, that was fantastic. And the Putin said that we respect the relation. We are very grateful to Bharat. He has been acknowledging all the help Bharat has given to them. And Putin makes a very sensational claim. Putin says that, there's this Navarro's laundry mart and all those things came in. He said, look, India and China are the one who have been trying to negotiate peace. India and China have been trying to stop the Ukrainian war. And even at SCO, Mr. Modi spoke to Zelensky. And he told him, look, I'll do whatever I can do to stop the war. And he told Mr. Putin, look, Mr. Putin, in the interest of humanity, it is important to stop the war. It is important to end the hostilities. Now, Putin had 3 points to make. I have to tell you that. If you look at what Putin said when he was addressing, he had 3 points to make. He said, look, point number 1 is that, NATO in 2008, Bucharest, Romania, categorically said, we are going to expand into this part of the world. So it is a NATO's plan, which was laid on paper in 2008, 2008 Then in 2019, he is hinting of a coup. When Zelensky came into power, somebody else went. So there was a coup which was orchestrated by America. Then in 2019,
2014, Maidan Revolution.
In 2000, who happened before? In 2019, Ukraine amended its constitution to become a full member of NATO. There was no provision within the Ukrainian constitution to become a member of NATO. He says that was done. So he's hinting at 3 things. He's thinking of, look, this was done in 2008. NATO kept on expanding here. You did a coup. That means he's kind of telling you Zelensky is not acceptable to me. You have to get rid of this man. And he is very categoric that this government is illegitimate. And he says in 2019, they amended the constitution. And it is because of NATO. This war is not because of Zelensky. This war is not because of Ukraine. He's very clear. This war is because NATO had a mission and a vision in 2008 to come and encircle Russia. The war is because of that. So the root cause has to be identified. What is the root cause? He's hinting at 3 things. I'll retain the territory. That's point number 1. I don't accept Zelensky as the leader. Point number 2. And I want NATO not to be around me. I have been always telling that Putin's next move will be, he'll say, I don't want NATO in my periphery. That's exactly what he said today. I don't want NATO around me. So whatever your position was in 2008, before that declaration, that the written declaration got signed within the NATO agreed, you come back to that position. That is my kind of negotiating. That is my negotiating thing where I want you to go back to. And without that, there is no permanent solution to peace. What I want is a permanent solution and peace. And this, what you are doing is there is no permanent solution to peace. So European soldiers or European arsenal in Ukraine is not the answer. 2008 kind of a position is what Putin wants, and what NATO has to back out from this region. This is what his position is. And incidentally, he also blamed, the West for kind of getting NATO into his territory, and he's very thankful to India and China for all the peace efforts what they have been doing. Russians are open to do business with a lot of people. And by the way, Russians also announced that very soon they'll have a lot of money, a few $1 billion Russia will be investing in China, and Russia will be investing in India. So that those announcements have been also made. So after this revelation of Putin, the paradigms of the war change, the expectations of the ceasefire change. He says, I had a meeting with Donald Trump. I have told him what I expect. I have told him what is expected, what are my security guarantees, what I am looking for. My security guarantees have to be met for me to have a long-lasting peace. So what I want is a long-lasting peace. I am not interested in temporary peace. My invasion of Ukraine was a compulsion which was thrusted on me by the West as NATO as the tool. So it's a West's war versus Eurasia. That is the new connotation he is drawing. And Zelensky is basically a facilitator. He's just getting people killed. That is what, it works. I mean, if I look at it in a different way, I'll put a different connotation to it. Look, you may want to say today, China says to the people, how does China go? China will go to a country, say, let's build a big highway in your country. You don't need the highway. China says, let's build a highway. So you would put 10, 20 billion dollars, will build a highway, Tamjam around it, all of things. Then suddenly say, okay, now you pay me my money. The Chinese government will not give the money. Money will be given by a Chinese bank at 7-8% interest. Of course, some people will be paid money in the country. Now, eventually, you cannot pay the money. So they say, okay, we keep the highway. We keep your land. Right? Now, the difference here is, we keep the land. The difference here is that Americans will exactly go and do the same thing. Americans will tell you, okay, I will get you into the NATO. You will be our umbrella. We'll protect you. We'll kind of give you all the strength. But you know what? I can't get you into the NATO right now. What you have to do, you have to be on the periphery of the NATO. What does that mean? We will use your people to get killed. Get a couple of your 1,000 of you, 100,000 of your people killed. What we'll do a great favor by giving you the weapons for which you have to pay. And once you are run out of your money and we don't get the money, so you have to give me your natural resources. You have to cut a deal with me for the natural resources. And then if you survive, I'll think, do I get you into NATO or not? So if you look at both the ways, and still if you don't know you're scammed, that is your problem. That is exactly what's happening. So here one goes through the infrastructure, one goes through the war machinery. Ultimately, both want money, and China wants land, they want minerals. That is how I look at it, what is happening. If people get scammed or fooled in this, how can I help the world? I mean, that is what the reality seems to be. Sir, you wanted to make a point?
Thank you so much. And what I wanted to just add to what you just said is that perhaps the chances of a Nobel Peace Prize for Trump are not looking that bright at this point of time, because Putin has openly come out and said that it was Xi Jinping and Modi who have been champions of peace. Okay, so don't take it too seriously also, because Putin is still continuing to wage the war in Ukraine. He has not changed his stance. Be that as it may, we need things to calm down. Things need to calm down. This rhetoric is only going so far. I mean, 24 hours now, we've been talking about one statement of Peter Navarro. And before that, again, last week also, we had some statements from, President Trump about India being a dead economy, Russia being a dead economy. That took for another. So somewhere, while all these things are happening, some other things are also taking place. There's a distraction being created. For example, student protests have come out in Indonesia also. Is it something like Bangladesh being repeated there? Is it like Sri Lanka being repeated there? Look, there are lots of small things going on. Sumiji, we have lots of questions today. So I would request you to, wrap up in a minute or two, and then we'll take the questions. We may be able to give a little bit more time in our answers. Yeah.
We have a lot to wrap up. I have two important things to say. Look, Azerbaijan wanted to become a permanent member. That has been blocked by India. And the
Azerbaijan. Yeah.
That is one important point. Second thing, you know what? I have a scoop for you all. Scoop. The FTA with European Union might see the light of the day by this year end. There's a confirmed source who confirmed to me this. So we are talking of August now, September, October, November, December. 3 months you might see FTA from Europe. And you know who is coming here tomorrow? We have the German foreign minister who is coming here tomorrow. And you know what has the German embassy tweeted right now before the show? The German embassy has tweeted, "We are welcoming hard-working Indian students to Germany." So when Trump is trying to shut down the doors, we have a FTA with EU, which was in negotiation for 16 years. And on our terms and conditions that probably in the next 3 months will be done and dusted. We have Germans opening their universities to Indian students, and also talking of Indians can come and live and work in Germany. They are talking big numbers here. They are talking approximately few 100,000 to 1,000,000 of the those talented Indian workforce to live. So if H1B is being scuttled, if student visas in America are being scuttled, the Germany is opening up to you, and very soon it's a matter of time. We'll have France, we'll have Italy, we'll have others playing the catch up. They will again kind of try to open it. So the point here is the EU FTA would have not happened if Donald Trump would have not pushed. And if I quote John Bolton, the statement which he gave 2-3 hours back, he said, "This turn of events, what happened in Tanzing, is the most dangerous repercussions from United States of America and Trump." And he said, "This is absolutely a disaster which you could have done, and which you have thankfully done it." And what did the China say? You have to read what Xi Jinping is saying today. Xi Jinping has become the champion of the world peace. He's saying the new world order, China-led world order. And if you don't believe me, go and read what did the Malaysian president say to it. Malaysian president is saying that the hope of the world is China. Now, for Xi Jinping, he never had a show of this proportion in his whole life. And thanks to Donald Trump, he gave it on the platter. You look at what Wang Yi is saying, as if China is the guardian angel of the world. China is the liberator of the world. It's because of China the world will survive. And China is that, beacon of liberty and multilateralism. All that what West stood for was aped, copied on a Chinese photocopier and given out by Wang Yi and Xi Jinping today. I mean, this is called typically turning of tables. The tables turned. And I was looking at it, I was laughing, and I was fuming. I don't know how to react to it, because you gave Xi Jinping this. You gave Xi Jinping this opportunity, and you are the one who are going to give it to him. But I have one more thing to report to you. Pakistan had a bilateral with our good. No, Xi Jinping is sir.
Oh,
but I'll show you. Nothing came out. Zero bata sannata. The Pakistanis were expecting CPEC Part 2. You know what did China give them as a lollipop? We are friends, not rivals. That's the sentence which they've given to us. They've also given the Pakistan lollipop. So Shehbaz was studying like this, like a waiter. Yesterday he tried to jump into Putin to say, "Hey, hello, Putin." And you look at that video. She is walking Putin and making me. He saw Shehbaz there. What did she do? She turned like this. He completely snubbed. She completely snubbed Shehbaz. It is the Xi Jinping who snubbed, and Shehbaz came. Arey bhai sahab, like this. He said, okay. Then Putin shake the hand. Today, Modi ji and Putin are walking, and Shehbaz is standing like this. Forget it, sir, everything. Even the Pakistani media is kind of bombasting Shehbaz. And now my prediction is, if something happens to Shehbaz after he returns to Pakistan, or there's a change of government, well, that may not be something which might come as a surprise. They are saying कि दूध में मक्खी की तरह निकाला. It's like a fly falling in a milk pan. You take them out, and some are saying he's the elaichi in the biryani. Nobody likes a elaichi in the biryani, so you throw it out as a elaichi in the biryani. So right. So Azerbaijan is kind of also there. And yesterday China did something good, wherein last night they said that we support India on cross-border terror, which directly nails Pakistan. And today, if you read at the SCO declaration, it is all about Pahalgam is mentioned. It's mentioned. Cross-border terror is mentioned. Perpetrators, supporters, and executors, they are all mentioned. And double standards of terror are mentioned. It's a complete U-turn. Remember the day when Rajnath ji thrashed the papers and left the SCO meeting. From that to today, I think it was Modi all over. It is that aura which has resonated so well. I think whatever we wanted to achieve diplomatically, it is achieved. And we have messages for everybody. The message for America, we had message for China, and we had even message for Pakistan. All the three people were given messages. And what I loved, she said, was that James Bond style meeting in the car. That was awesome. That meeting in the car between Putin and Prime Minister Modi was something which stole the show. And as I told you, that's the hottest trending thing on Weibo. So there are a lot of things which are happening, and Putin is going to, by the way, stay back. He's had a bilateral with Iran, and other people are going to have bilaterals with him. And the third is that parade. I think after the parade, that's day after tomorrow, he will be coming back. Meanwhile, Modi ji has landed in India. What I was tracking, Modi ji has landed in India, so he has a big schedule here. I think the tweets from Donald Trump, the tweet when the Scott Bessent Ali, now Marco Rubio, I think somewhere down the line they also realize that they have to recalibrate it. I firmly believe the relationship is no leader's IPR, and if Trump thinks he can kind of break down everything what has been achieved in 30 years, Trump is missing one thing. The world, sir, necessity is the mother of evolution, and evolution has its own ways. Look, you try to stop our one deal. We're having a big deal with you. You try to stop our students. Germany is opening up. Their foreign ministers tomorrow here. He's going to meet Prime Minister Modi. And there are so many developments which are happening. We don't have time to get into all this because we have a lot of questions to take. But I'm telling you, if one thing stops, other things are coming up in much bigger way. So our dependence on one particular country is reducing, and we are kind of pivoting our interest on a lot of countries and a lot of systems. Today, for a country, like a Germany, look, China is not where you want to go. America is kind of already peaking. So you are all queuing up to come to India. And if you look at last few days, how many, though it has not hit the main news headlines and all, because Trump has taken all the TRPs. But if you look at last few days, how many European leaders, how many European delegations have been visiting India? That is not kind of reported too much, but there's a lot of activity. So you might have problems cropping up with United States of America because of Trump, but Europe and other parts of the world are trying to fill into that vacuum and fill in pretty fast. Ji sir.
Thank you so much, Sumiji. Now, let's have one more topic. This is India blocking the entry of Azerbaijan into the SCO. Azerbaijan has a very interesting record, viewers. It's partners with Pakistan. It also has a lot of help from Israel, of all countries. And India, in the conflict between Armenia and Azerbaijan, by the way, Azerbaijan is backed by the Turkiyas. India has been helping Armenia. Armenia is one of those countries, just like the Jews, they have been persecuted by the Turks for a long time. Go back to First World War. How many Armenians were killed? It's just very sad when you see the history of this rich, proud nation, very, very ancient culture, and what it has suffered over the decades. Be that as it may, India has now said no entry to Azerbaijan into the SCO. And this is a big deal because Azerbaijan, one of those people who can be influenced this way, that way, and so on and so forth. I would like you to get a little bit of perspective from your point of view on this, and then we can go to Q&A, because that's the last topic that we have today that we need to cover. Over to you.
The clock is also running. We never looked at it. Now, the important aspect is, Azerbaijan had backing of China, complete backing of China. But still, we could stop them from becoming a permanent member. It's again a big diplomatic win for India. And I would like to stress on one thing. There's a statement from Vikram Misri, our foreign secretary. He says, the situations border are not likely to be good, but they are already good. So is there a takeaway which we have got? Is there something, and the position on terror is already better. He stated that. So what does that mean? Had China promised or kind of agreed to give something like not using, because I was very clear, Pakistan has weaponized China. Pakistan used China to run its nefarious agendas. So have Chinese waken up to the reality? And maybe as a part of that, because Azerbaijan supported Pakistan, and we want to kind of get our relations on a bit better terms with China. So one of the things of the deal would be Azerbaijan cannot become a permanent member of the SCO. And I think that is where as a big diplomatic win for India. So we are sending a very clear message. If you mess around with India, well, the world is going to be very short for you. We won't let you walk easy. You won't be able to get your way through. Though you might be the best friends of China, still it doesn't work. Look at what happened to Azerbaijan and what happened to Shehbaz. If you want to make two case studies out of it, anyway, it is rightly said, sir, when the big boy in a big boys club, the minions are not invited. That is where it ends up.
Thank you so much. And we are... No, I think I said that too. Thank you so much, Venkatesh ji. Yes, Putin, see, he was heading the Foreign Bureau, if I remember correctly, in East Berlin before, they merged. And he's fluent in, if I remember correctly, German, French, and I think English. Pretty cool character, okay? I mean, you have to go back to listen to Martin Armstrong on how or why Yeltsin selected Putin. He selected, according to Martin Armstrong, he selected Putin as his successor because Putin was not a communist and Putin was not an oligarch. Oligarch meaning those rich people who had stolen. I mean, they just grabbed all the different oil industries, and they have this oligarchs in Russia who are extremely powerful. Since Putin did not fall in either of these camps, Yeltsin gave the, sort of like blessed him and said that think of Russia first. That's why you see most of the things that he does or says. There's always that thing about Mother Russia. I mean, this is a proud civilization, viewers. Whether you like them or not, whether they're empirical, just keep on going and annexing, getting more and more land. You like them or not, as a country, they are very proud of their arts and their culture. So let's leave it at that. Suji, let's go to questions if you don't mind. We are already 40 minutes into the program, 19 questions to go through. That's a lot in my opinion. Let's start with SK Digital wants to know, if using a racial or religious slur in the West is unacceptable, why do caste slurs against Brahmin get a free pass? It is not. They are getting it in full. Back to you.
Well, they are getting it a full in black and white, and all our media, P Gurus or any of the nationalistic media today, everybody is rebutting them. And when the media and the commentators and the influencers start rebutting them, so there is no free pass. We are a nation of 1.4 billion people, and when we rebut something, that makes a lot of noise there. And today, a lot of Americans would have not known what this whole Brahmin thing is about. I think Navarro's mistake made a few million people in the world aware what kind of a nefarious agenda is being run by this gentleman. Next. Bobji Krishnan Sumit sir,
it looks like Trump's only gripe is Modi ji not recommending him for Nobel. Would it have been too bad for Modi to nominate him? Much of the current tension could have been... No. It's got nothing to do with this, Bobji.
Sir, there are three things. One, we didn't let Trump mediate. We did not give in on the trade deal. We did not basically agree to a couple of things which Trump wanted us to do. So that is where the problem comes. We have stood up to the Trump. We have called up his bluff. We have told what it is right. We did not play along with Asim Munir, okay, Nobel Prize, theek hai, you should get a Nobel Prize and all. So that is where Trump, he doesn't like those headstrong people. He doesn't like people who are opinionated and they are honest and they stand by their ground. He believes he can manage and manipulate and buy over anything. Even deal making is at times buying over people. I'm not saying corrupting people. I'm saying buying over people. Well, that didn't work here. That got him pissed off. And what we talked about last episode, if you remember, guys, that AI-based weapon, forget those F-16s and the radars, that AI-based jamming, which even jammed the American satellites for some time, in my opinion, there's a lot of talk on it. So that there are a couple of things which put together kind of really pissed this man off. So it's not noble or no noble.
Next one, please. Arvind wants to know, in the absence of a bill like SB 403, isn't Peter Navarro lucky to get away with the casteist remark? On a serious note, what is it trying to do? Exploit some fault lines in India? Only he can explain. Like I told you, he's tends to be a bit of a erratic person, and that I think was the reason why he was kept out of the Trump administration. Even though, like I said, he went to jail. Lutnick didn't go to jail. Scott Bessent lives in Dubai. So why did he not get picked? I think this is the reason, that this man goes unhinged sometimes, and that could be a problem. Next one, please. Magnet Ranga wants to know, Namaste Bharat's growth was mocked as Hindu rate of growth. Time to be proud of this very term now. Should a benchmark for nations now. Mera Bharat Mahan. I think he's just making a statement.
I think it's a fantastic idea, because that should be 7%. Hindu growth rate is now 7%. So if that is the let's other people aspire to have this growth rate of 7%. I think America is growing at 1.2, 1.3, Europe at 1.2, 1.3. So let them. This is a good benchmark for them, Ranga sir. Let them aspire to at least reach half of it. I'll be happy.
Thank you so much, Kumaresh Ananda. I think Kumaresh Ananda, for your super sticker. Next one, please. P Gurus, is it not right thing for Bharat to come out of Commonwealth, Quad, UN, IMF and World Bank, etc.? Please elaborate without omitting this question. Muthukumar Sundaram. I have something to say, but first I'll let you take a shot at the answer.
I think you see, look, Commonwealth, in my opinion, is a dying thing, and it's only a ceremonial thing. And when Modi ji met Prince Charles, you see, that protocol got broken that day, because usually you're supposed to be the British Prime Minister, not the head of the Commonwealth. So Modi ji meeting Prince Charles was two parallel people meeting. So Commonwealth is practically not there, but tactically there's a ghost which lives somewhere. Quad, I think our relation with America is not driven by the whims and fancies of Trump. Trump may tomorrow not be here. There are a lot of things about his health which are doing the round. So he may not be. Let's not scuttle the whole relation. And in geopolitics, sir, you should always keep your options open. God is UN. I mean, play along. Don't expect too much. IMF, play along. We don't need them, but we still have a lot of leverage. It. World Bank, we don't need them, but let's keep our leverage and use these organizations to help our friends and to choke our enemies. That is my take on it.
Next one, please. Magnum Opus wants to know, sirs, is the actual game to counter India selling oil by the US, the crypto deal? The buzz is US is helping Pakistan to set up huge refineries to sell oil to the world.
Sir, where is the oil in US, sir? Where is the oil in Pakistan? I mean, if you get in don't take me on Pakistan. Then I can talk for next 1 hour. Pakistan is a tumor on planet Earth. Pakistan is a liability on planet. Pakistan is a cancer on planet Earth. What does Pakistan give to the world? What has Pakistan given in the last 75 years? Can you name 7 things which Pakistan has given 75 years? We have 10 sectors which I can name you right now with facts, figures, and data, where we are number 1 or number 2 to the world. If you want me to give me 15, I can give you 15. What is Pakistan good at? If somebody wants to kind of get into the mirage of a bottomless well, which is epicenter of Islamic terror, jihad, and Islamic hegemony, free ticket to Pakistan. I'll buy you a ticket, go to Pakistan. So Pakistan is nothing. This cryptos and all work in a country where is money. What does Pakistan give to the world? It only takes zakat, khairat from Saudi, from Turkey, anybody in the world. It doesn't give anything, sir.
Thank you so much. I can't decode your name. Unfortunately, this is not in our control. Your real names are not appearing. Your actual handles are appearing, and some of these handles are very cryptic, very difficult for us to decode. Thank you so much. He's in Bhiksha Mudra. I think he's talking about Shehbaz Sharif.
ऐसे है ना सर, ऐसे कुछ तो दे दो।
क्या बोले हम, नानी याद आ गई त्रिपुण पहनकर, क्या बोले हम।
नहीं, अब भी सनातन की तरफ
These guys are the biggest people in denial, Horrible. Ilban Cherian wants to know, do you think that President Trump is behaving in this way to block the new world order's agenda of global control?
I think Trump is a catalyst who is helping to build a new world order. After going through all these debates and discussions over months and years, I think, every time, I watched that movie Jurassic Park. When he's stealing those embryos, his car hits a roadblock and the embryos get washed away. That's how the dinosaur starts cropping up in the park. Evolution always finds a way. If evolution has come, if the time of changing of the world order has come, I will see Trump only as a nimitt for that. What I told you about Germany, what I told you about this EU FTA, this was to only reiterate the fact he is a nimitt of this change. He's only doing that change unknowingly, but he's disrupting the old, shaken and broken world order. That's how I look at it.
Next one, please. Aryabrata wants to know, is there any difference between this Navarro and the chamcha surrounding Pappu, Stalin and Mamta Banerjee?
I mean, come on. I think they are still better off than Navarro. Navarro is not there by any chance. At least, Stalin and Mamta are politicians. They might do all this song and dance. This is for the politics. They know what it is. This man is completely bizarre. He has lost it. And I can see that frustration, that disappointment on his face, that peak of desperation wherein people are really, really desperate to, I just want to pick up a hammer and break your head. Is that kind of a desperation I can see in him. These guys are politicians, they're smart people. Not Pappu.
Wants to know. Sorry.
I didn't take Pappu's name, by the way. I took other two's name.
Next one from Romite. Why is External Affairs Minister Jaishankar, who was also the former ambassador of India to China, surprisingly absent in the SCO meetings? Any diplomatic smart game being played by India?
I think either Dr. Jaishankar has other priorities or this is a part of a strategy. It's too difficult to talk on that. Yes, that is noted, but I think he had already been to SCO's foreign ministers, which was held there. It was the SCO heads of state. So there were only the Chinese foreign minister was there because he is hosting it. You didn't see the Pakistani or the Pakistani foreign minister. Russian foreign minister was there. So there is no protocol. You cannot have him, but there is no protocol which says you must have it. That is where I look at it.
I'm told that he had some health issues. That's why he could not travel this time. Next one, please. Kesar wants to know, out of topic, 1,000 tents, 15 tons of food. India sends relief to Afghanistan after deadly earthquake. Modi never rests to help. Was there a new earthquake?
Yeah. There is around more than 1,000 people are dead. It was 6.0 on the Richter scale. And we can have more people, unfortunately, dying out of this. First, we thought it's a small thing, but now we know, more than 1,000 people are already dead.
Next one, please. Charles Sobraj wants to know, sir, Trump said he stopped Bharat's Op Sindoor leveraging trade. Since the trade is not happening, can we push for resuming Op Sindoor? Please. Pakistan ko ठोकते हैं ना?
No, that will happen any day, brother. And one day we are going to get up in the mid of night or early morning at 5 o'clock, and you'll be all having your phones ringing, and I'll be having, coming in the late night with my one eye closed and saying Operation Sindoor has started again. Because look, Pakistan is not going to change. We have to break Pakistan into 4 parts. My mission, my vision is very clear. I'll keep on pushing the idea till the time we don't break Pakistan into 4 parts. Only after that, there can be some possibility of a peace. And there are some people in the Pakistan who have to be out of the gear, if I can be diplomatic with my words. You know what I mean. They have to be out of gear. Let's not be charitable with the words. Let's not be simple. Let's not be simplistic about it. We know what our agenda is, and we have to do it. I mean, there's no going back on that. Next. Will China bite the bullet? Afghanistan charger port link. I'm not sure on that because Chinese guys, they have their own priorities, and China is playing its cards very, very subtly. And only, I don't know, you guys, did you notice yesterday the meeting with Chai Kui of Prime Minister Modi was a big geopolitical development. A lot of people seem to have ignored it, but meeting with Chai Kui was something which is very, very significant, because now Modi ji was given access for the first time to the Standing Committee of the Politburo of China. So China is playing its card very subtly. It looks like China is changing, but knowing China, before every event, they might give you a little bit of, leverage. And after 15 days, what will China do? That only will determine has China changed or not. I'm always saying you have to be very, very calibrated with anything you do with China.
Vinith wants to know, while the youth in US are busy in finding gender, here in Bharat, youth are sitting in driver's seat and showing the way for Viksit Bharat to Modi. And the youth in India should also stop watching cricket, in my opinion. Over to you.
Yeah, and cricket and possibly Bollywood also. And
yes. These are not your icons. These are not your models. No,
these are not your models. Don't get carried away with them. The third biggest startup ecosystem in the world is now with Bharat, and it's mostly run by the youth of Bharat. And if I am at the helm of affairs, I will make unitary entrepreneurship as the biggest craze of India, because I know I can take the GDP to 3 times of what it is now in 4 years. If I can get this as a craze, like cricket is a craze, yeah. If I can make this unitary entrepreneurship as the craze, I would want, if there are 4 people in the family, I want all of them 4 to be entrepreneurs. Kuch bhi karo. Even if you're selling papad is good. And don't demean any profession. Selling papad is good business, by the way. Selling pakodas is good business, by the way. So if we can do that kind of...
Making a good product, it will sell in India. Absolutely guaranteed.
It will sell. So, that is the revolution I want to bring. And yes, that has to be priority of India.
Yeah, I touched upon this one, Explore World. Thank you so much. I did touch upon this one, that there is a pattern. There appears to be a pattern emerging. Who knows? See, Indonesia has also been taking pot shots at China. See, this is the thing. While you are having SCO, everybody is looking at SCO, who's doing the what. You can go and quietly foment trouble somewhere else.
Yeah, China, sir. Never forget. China.
Thank you so much for your donation. Navarro ji ko नवारी साड़ी पहन के chill मारना चाहिए. Him trying to say what he did is only making him look like a I don't know, has
Mhm.
gone. What is that 4-letter word? I don't know what he's trying to say. I mean, now you have even Christine Fair using some very interesting Urdu words.
वो थोड़ा terminology is getting global, right?
Yes, yes, yes.
It did not speak. I think, you see, Navarro's desperation came out. It's like, when I'm frustrated, I pick up this cup and just bang it on my wall. What I'm doing, I'm venting out my anger. I'm venting out that impulsive anger on my wall, and I'm breaking a cup. That's what Navarro is doing. Look at his eyes. Look, the eyelids are stretched like this. Look at his body language. That talks about a desperation. I like people when
I
they get
think the
desperate.
person's name is Shuchi. I'm sorry, when the handle comes, it's very difficult to decode the original name. Thank you for your generous gift. Wilban Cherian wants to know, do you think that Trump's behavior will push the globalist New World agenda to create a major war to break back control from President Trump?
Look, I think there are already enough undercurrents in US. What I've been tracking, a lot of them don't get listed in the mainstream media. But what I keep on tracking, there are all of, and there is a unity in one thing, that Trump cannot destroy what America has achieved as a national IPR, as an American IPR. Trump is dismantling that, and constantly today, that 10-minute speech of Xi Jinping, I was thinking of jumping from this window, which is this 10 floors up, because he has become the Messiah. He's now the Zeus of the world. I mean, look at China with all the screw ups they have done, with all the mess ups they have done, is because of Trump. I told you the tables got turned today. What West used to stand for peace, liberty, fraternity, and all, China is talking the same lingo. They only changed the English a bit. And whatever she was talking, there was immediately an English translation available. Usually China doesn't do it so far, because usually they don't want to talk too much. But today it was all on the high horse. It was on the cloud nine. It was all those beautiful English words. And, I thought it was Zeus on earth.
Next one, please. Pratt Viper, thank you so much for your donation. Sir, guys like Jayant Bhandari and NRA on X, who always spews venom against India, calls it ruggish society, blah, blah. Are people like this a cause? I mean, what can I say? Sometimes people have their personal experiences that might be unpleasant, and then they project it towards the entire country. That is what it is wrong. I'll give you a simple example, okay? I'll give you a simple example about how much Brahmins are respected in a state like Tamil Nadu, where one party at least, or maybe more than that, have made it their platform to hate Brahmins. See, this is a very simple story, Sumiji. I'll tell you, this happened in my latest trip. So what happened was, I had used Uber-like car for going from place A to place B. The bill was 300 rupees. I had only 500 rupee note. When you come from India, from US, you usually keep the highest denomination because you want to travel light. So I gave 500. The guy did not have change. He said, pay by Google Pay. I don't have Google Pay. You see where it is coming, right? So I'm getting down at this temple, and there is a flower vendor. And I asked her, do you have change for 500? And she said, sir, I don't have change for 500. It is still early time. I can give you 300. You collect 200 on your way out from the temple, because I was going to spend there about half an hour. So I took 300 from her, paid the cab guy. That guy is gone. I gave her the 500. I said, okay, I'll come back and collect 200. About an hour and a half later, I come back. It is raining. She's doing good business. And I said, now can I have the 200? And instead of just asking her, just give me the money, I thought she had very good plantains. There are plantains of only this much size, 3 inches. Bananas of this much size, Sumitji, they taste like misery. That's sweet. That's sweet. And I saw that and I said, I wanted to get that. How much is that dozen? And she said 100 rupees. So I said, okay, you give me that and you give me the remaining 100. You know what happened? She did not have a 100 rupee note. So she gave me the plantains, and then she gave me a 200 and said, sir, you take that. You pay me for the bananas later. This was 4 days before I returned back to US. I went back there to pay her for the bananas. That day she had not appeared yet. It was a little early in the day. So I'm going to go back in my next trip and I'm going to give her that money. But look at the trust. That lady trusted that this man who looked like a Brahmin, looked like it because I was not wearing tripunda or anything that day. And that is the respect that a Brahmin enjoys in the society. They are selfless. This was not built between you and me today just because a Dravida party says some nonsense that people immediately stop respecting. This is a respect, not I didn't earn it. My great grandfathers earned it.
It's a work of centuries, I would say.
Please don't take this one thing and then try to cross society. I mean, for somebody with a PhD in Harvard to make a statement is utterly thoughtless, very, very stupid in my opinion. Next question, please. We have some more questions to go.
Sure.
Let me see. There's some message that I have to go through. Just 1 second. Oh, Jayant Bhandari, there's a clarification. He's not a person he's not living in US. Maybe he's living in Canada, Vancouver, Canada. Who knows? These days, people are willing to do whatever for money. They just think that, oh, if I have to take a pot shot and I get paid for it, well, what can we say?
I mean, sir, if 1,000 years of Islamic invasion could not disrupt Sanatana, will a couple of tweets do it? I mean, you must be insane even if you think like that. But insanity doesn't have a ticket. There's no entry fees. Anybody can go in. That's how I conclude it.
Very true. Thank you. Thank you so much, Sumiji. And viewers, I hope you liked this session. Very frank exchange of views. And all this from the heart and also a lot from the head too, because we want to stay factual. Thanks once again, Sumiji. We'll see you again in Hindi tomorrow at 9:30. Namaskar. Let's get the blessings of Mahadev.
On that note, brothers and sisters, kindly like, share, and subscribe. Help our channel to grow. Give a token of gratitude to our efforts by clicking on the like for sure, and do subscribe. Click on all the 4 icons you get, because we try to keep you ahead of the curve. On that note, we know we'll get your love and patronage as always. Bharat Mata ki jai. Vande Matram. Om Namah Parvati Padaya. Har 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 Mahadev.